Will, I want you to hit me as hard as
Roll the credits.
SHORYUFLICKS. Time Travel Tuesday.
What's up, guys? Thanks for watching another episode of SHORYUFLICKS. This is actually the second edition of Time Travel Tuesday, and we're going back to 1999 for the cult classic Fight Club, starring Brad Pitt and Ed Norton.
Mr. Norton.
Yeah. So this movie, believe it or not, came out 16 years ago. Wow.
I remember watching it back in 2002 or 2003. And at that time, I loved it. And I still love it.
So so back in college, my friends and I we had buddies that just went to go see movies all the time. So this is actually one of the first movies I saw freshman year in college, and I'm one of the people that actually saw it in the theater and was just amazed by the storytelling in the movie, and genuinely surprised to figure out that Brad Pitt was basically a split personality of Edward Norton's character.
Yeah, when I first watched it, obviously it wasn't during the actual release. I watched it on DVD per recommendation of the person I was dating actually at the time.
Oh.
She let me borrow the box set, which is the box on the box set. It was in a really cool packaging. It was like the DVD looked like actual
like the soap,
like the soap, yeah, like the actual wrapping of the soap.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I
had that too, yeah. Wow.
It's really cool.
Nice, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So she let me borrow it, and I watched it. She was like, "Oh, you have to watch it. You have to watch it." I was like, "Oh, okay. Tell me what to do, I'll do it." So I remember I was sitting at home watching on my computer, I think it was. And I'm watching, like, holy crap, this movie's really good, really, really good. And then you get the twist at the end where he's one and the same.
Yeah.
Oh, no freaking way! And I picked up my really small Sony Ericsson phone at the time, and I called her up like, "This movie's amazing!"
It's one of the actual first movies I saw like as a young adult that had a nice twist to it.
Wait, how old are you back then? Because at that time, 2002, that means I was 16?
Shut the hell up.
21?
I hate him so much. Well, I actually saw it when it came out, so I was 18 in 1999. How old are you?
5 minus that, so 13.
So Fight Club was actually one of the first movies that I started liking Brad Pitt in. The other movie was Seven with Morgan Freeman, which we'll get to hopefully in another Time Travel Tuesday
What's in
episode.
the box, man?
What's in the box?
What's in the fucking box?
That's actually 20 years old this year too. 1995.
That might be the next one.
Wow, that might be the next one. Mm-hmm. But anyway, it was more so Brad Pitt just kind of embodying kind of how we look at ourselves or how we'd like to look at ourselves in the mirror every day. Even though we might lead these mundane lives, or at least what we think might be mundane lives, we always like to picture ourselves as like some sort of cool, hip version of what we really are. At least I know I did, and for my friends watching, they know I try a little too hard sometimes. Hey, I'm just being truthful, and they know that. But yeah, so it's just for the character that Brad Pitt basically portrays in the movie is like what we'd all like to be. What did you think?
I think my favorite part of this entire film was the theme of people being too much of a consumer as opposed to an individual.
Yep.
Where Edward Norton's character kind of summarizes the general human public very well, where all we do is, a lot of people work a job they're not necessarily happy doing, that's beyond their skill sets. They do it over and over and over again so they can make enough money to buy something that they want, or they think they want. So the usage of an IKEA catalog as the as the epitome of being a consumer was actually pretty cool in my eyes, and I think Edward Norton deserves all the credit in the world for his role doing that, because a lot of times I feel like people do get in like this fog or this haze of just doing the same thing over and over and over again. Where I agree with you, where Brad Pitt's character, or Tyler Durden, the cool version, was a person free from the shackles of being a consumer. And looking to make enough money to buy the next big thing, where he didn't give it two flying Fs about what clothes he wore, what car he drove, what phone he had in his hand.
That's also another like embodiment of like the freedom that he had to kind of just not care and live the life that he wanted to live. So that's kind of another reason that like I love the kind of the split personality character that Brad Pitt played opposite Ed Norton, because again, we're all in there, we're all in the grind, we're all in the rat race right now. But then there's like these, you always look at those few individuals that are not playing the game, so to speak, and they're kind of just living their own life, living their own kind of dreams, and you kind of look at them like, yeah, you know,
we could do that.
they could do that.
Why can't we?
Why can't we? But yeah, this so for so many reasons, including that, this is why this movie was basically became a cult classic within the last 16 years, and I mean, I can always rewatch it, which brings us to watchability. I give it a 5 out of 5 simply because every time it's on, you're glued to the TV.
Yeah.
When my kids aren't around. But yeah, it's just something. It's a movie that it's smart. It plays to every like at least every guy's kind of raw emotion and kind of raw like just what do you want to accomplish with your life if you weren't so just wrapped up in the rat race.
Responsibilities.
And responsibilities. Yeah, man, 5 out of 5. What do you give it?
I give it a 5 out of 5 because watching back 16 years later, I'm always looking for more and more. Every time I watch it, not that I watch it that many times, but every time I watch it, I look for more and more signs that Edward Norton's character was not Brad Pitt. I'm sorry, did I say that right? Yeah, I think I did. So I'm watching for those little like clues or nuggets that I leave you, saying, "Hey, maybe you should have seen this earlier."
Self-improvement is masturbation. Now self-destruction. Excuse me.
So watching it and then also seeing, kind of looking at the actors that have kept on acting since that movie is very rewarding as well. Helena Carter, who plays Marla, she's now done so many movies since then. I think her most recent thing is, I feel bad, I hope there's not something else more significant, Harry Potter.
Yeah, I mean I think that's the one that she's.
I'm sorry, if there's something bigger than that was better than that movie.
Well, last Harry Potter was what, 2 years ago already? I think you're good.
Yeah, I hope so. But again, and we were saying this before we started rolling, and I didn't even realize at the time because I wasn't a Meatloaf fan. I didn't know Meatloaf was Bob. I didn't know he was Robert Paulson. So seeing
who in real life, there's a Robert Paulson that's a dynamite voice actor. Again, sidebar, but okay.
His name is Robert Paulson. So yeah, I think watchability is definitely 5 out of 5. Straight up, no doubt about it. 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I mean simply because you can keep watching it over and over again. Trying to keep up with the little tidbits that are there, but pretty much just because Brad Pitt is ripped as heck, and you wish that you were that ripped. Moving on. It's fun factor. So yeah, so get back to that. There's a heck of a lot of fighting in here. For any dude that's watched this movie, you'll watch it because of that. You'll watch it because it's straight up, just in your face, knockout, kind of drag out fights that are in the fight scenes. The adrenaline rush that you get when you're watching that is just it's awesome to complement the great acting and to just complement the tone of the movie. It's super fun. Yeah,
I think fun factor wise, if you brought 4 of your buddies or even a girlfriend, whatever, I think everyone would sit down and watch this movie and be like, wow, this is a great fucking movie. Like, I agree with you where the fight scenes are, there's no, fancy things about these fight scenes. It's not like, the Bourne series where like there's a whole bunch of different angles.
It's not a choreography type deal. It's just, it's real just
punch in your face, knee.
Like MMA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Before it went mainstream. The UFC came out in like 1994. Didn't really pick up until like lately.
Well, before they became mainstream, they were really bad.
No,
Like you stomp on people's heads.
listen, and then I'm gonna throw this back to my cousin Jerry, who got me into UFC back in 1994 with Royce Gracie, and then Dan Severn and Ken Shamrock. See, I know my shit, man, for real. Thanks, Jerry. Yeah, it was way Pat Smith.
Pat Smith.
Yep.
Wow. That's the first generation.
Yep.
Because Chuck Liddell and all them, I consider them second generation. Anyway.
But it was a lot more brutal back then, you'll see. Moving on.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Fun Factor is definitely pretty damn good. Plus the fact that the comedic parts as well as the just watching Brad Pitt and Edward Norton interact with each other.
Yeah.
And again, knowing at this point now that they're the same person.
Yeah.
Watching them interact with each other is kind of funny to watch.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, wonder if I was that guy on that bus watching him talking to himself, how would I think of him? I'm like,
exactly.
So
This is crazy.
People do it every day. They talk to themselves. They see themselves as they'd like to be. They don't have the courage you have to just run with it. Naturally, you're still wrestling with it, so sometimes you're still you.
We should do this again sometime.
Other times, you imagine yourself watching me.
This is your first night at Fight Club. We have to fight.
Little by little, you're just letting yourself become Tyler Durden.
So
yeah, when you look back at it, it's just basically the basis of it is Ed Norton talking to himself the entire movie.
yeah,
And it's just like, you know.
you're thinking it that way. This movie's always gonna be fun.
Yeah.
So I give it a 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5 too for Fun Factor for me. So let's move on to tone. The tone of the movie kind of it takes you kind of everywhere.
It does. I think relatively you can categorize it as being very serious. You had your few funny parts where like Bruce Lee, wow, where Brad Pitt's pretending to be Bruce Lee and riding around the bike in the house and stuff like that. You had some comedic relief, but for the most part, it was a very hard-hitting idea of why do you care so much about earthly things?
Right.
When you should care about being more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that scene where he takes the convenience store clerk and basically holds him at gunpoint,
Mm-hmm.
and basically tells him, "If you don't live your dream, I'm gonna shoot you."
Yeah.
That, for me, rewatching it was very hard hitting because at that point, so many people get not comfortable. I guess they kind of get pushed in a certain way to do a job or do something that just pays the bills.
Mm-hmm.
That they forget why they even started the path that they started on, and they always deviate off to do the safe thing. So
yeah, I mean, for people that didn't watch the movie, what those scene little song about is the store clerk gets held at gunpoint, or Brad Pitt pulls him out in front and gets held at gunpoint and said, "What did you want to do with your life? And what were you going to do with that biology?
I don't know.
What did you want to be, Raymond K. Hustle?
A veterinarian.
Veterinarian.
Now run on home.
Run, Forrest, run!
I feel ill.
Imagine how he feels.
Come on, this isn't funny. That wasn't funny. What the fuck was the point of that?
Tomorrow will be the most beautiful day of Raymond Castle's life. His breakfast will taste better than any meal you and I have ever tasted.
You had to give it to him.
Come on.
He had a plan. And it started to make sense in a Tyler sort of way.
Stuff like that. It was just
Yeah.
like, if anybody held you at gunpoint and just asked you what you wanted to be with your life, how would you honestly answer?
You say convenience store clerk. That's not good.
Yeah.
But nothing wrong with that. Just saying that's your dream. Yikes.
So, tone for me again, damn, it's going to be a 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5 so far. Perfect score. Might be my first 5 out of 5 for every category.
Well, let's see. Pace and editing.
Can I start this one off?
Yes.
I like that they deliberately spliced in scenes. Because I mean that they kind of explained that part in towards the beginning, middle part of the movie where Tyler Durden's night job was to splice movies together for films.
Yeah.
But I like that in the beginning of the movie, leading up to even before Brad Pitt came into the film, you saw little splices of his character.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When Edward Norton couldn't sleep and he's going through insomnia and stuff like that, you would see just tiny slices of Brad
Yeah.
Pitt. And so if you never watched that movie before, like, what was that?
Yeah.
But you know now it's deliberate after watching it over and over again.
Yeah.
So I thought pacing and editing was top notch.
I mean, the technique that you're talking about, where they kind of just splice in a frame of a specific character or scene, it's one that's been used before, like specifically in The Exorcist when they're showing the demon kind of throughout the movie before she gets possessed. And if you haven't seen The Exorcist, go see it.
I don't know if I can, man. That movie's...
First of all, I saw it when I was young, and it haunted me till this day. I finally got over it when me and my cousin Vic, what's up, Vic? Me and my cousin Vic went to the reissue where they actually added the crab walk, and then that's kind of how I got over it, watching it in the theater again.
I don't know if I can.
But yeah, that technique's been done before, but in here it's used so well,
Yes.
and it affects the pace of the story kind of just perfectly. So, wow, pace and editing, I'm gonna give it 5.
5 out of 5 because they deliberately used mess ups as part of the movie. So yeah, 5 out of 5, very creative.
Yeah. Well, then I guess it's kind of hard not to give it 5 out of 5 if they did that.
To deliberately mess up to push your film.
Yeah.
I can't not credit that.
And last but not least, acting. Whew. Well, being that we didn't find out that Brad Pitt wasn't an actual person until the end of the movie,
When they
that
basically
alone,
had to tell us.
Yeah, that alone, and along with Helena Bonham Carter's kind of supporting cast, supporting role.
Yeah.
Meatloaf did great,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was a very kind of subtle performance by Jared Leto.
The Joker.
The Joker.
Oh, not
I
yet.
can't wait to see that movie.
He
Anyway,
says he's the craziest Joker of all time.
well, we'll see.
Yeah.
So Jared Leto's very subdued in this movie too, so don't go see it just for him. He's in the movie, and his role is kind of
16 years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
Jared Leto's been acting for 16 years.
Yeah. All the performances, it was really just like great. I think I'm gonna have to give this a 5 out of 5, which would give me
A perfect score.
Perfect score.
I think that because everyone always talks about Brad Pitt in this movie, which he deserves all the credit in the world. Edward Norton also deserves just as much credit, even though I feel like he's an afterthought of this movie for some reason. You see him more than you see Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
But his portrayal of, especially when he finds out that he's one and the same as the cool Tyler Durden, is second to none. Second to none. Again, Edward Norton has the ability to do a whole bunch of different roles very well. He did Bruce Banner once, which I thought wasn't bad. It's hard to believe him as the Hulk.
Now.
Yeah.
Props, Mark Ruffalo. Props.
Mr. Ruffalo.
Yeah.
You got out of rom-coms very well.
Wow.
But yeah, I'll give it a 5. 5 out of 5.
So this movie basically gets an A+ from us. Wow. This is
Perfect
the first
score.
A+ we've ever given, and it's a throwback movie too. So
Yeah.
thanks for watching this Time Travel Tuesday edition of SHORYUFLICKS. We'll see you next time. My name is Maersky. This is my boy.
Will, don't forget to subscribe and like, please.
Please.
Adios.
Flicks.